Hello, Sacred Soul family. Welcome to Spiritually Naked with Soul. I am Molly Douglas, and this is a new series where we are connecting into the sacred motherlands of Bali. Bali is a return to, going somewhere sacred. That really was the journey. And this was about 3 years ago, where I went to Bali and had these amazing activations. And it was such a beautiful energy frequency that took place there. And I truly believe that when we don't even have to come to these sacred locations in order for the activations to happen, our soul's blueprint, which is deep inside of us, becomes activated and awakened, even when we are connecting into images, when we're connecting into words. I had a calling for Bali, oh my gosh, for 5, 10 years before even going. It was just the soul's knowing that it was a place that I needed to go, that there was information there that was there for me, that there was a activation there, that there was a remembrance there. And and there was. And there was a beautiful sacred soul sister that I actually met in Costa Rica who had this opportunity, created this opportunity to host a sacred retreat with another divine soul who you will be connecting to later. He was going to share one of his meditations on each of these series. So that's really beautiful. We're going to connect into each of the chakras that were activated, as well as each of the archetypes. And so today we're really going to be diving into this archetype of the Siren that connects into the throat chakra, which was widely activated when I was in Bali. And what came up was this water temple. And wherever you go in Bali, there are these mermaids and dragons everywhere. And the before you go into any temple, there are the frequencies, like because it's by the water. But it's also just this ancient remembrance of something so sacred, of the ley lines that are there, the vibration, the frequency, the sounds. And we went to this cave. And I remember the morning that we woke up and came out, there was actually this huge snake. And Bali's full of kind of dualities, right? The energy has these big duality energies. It's really blissful and beautiful and sacred and magical, and these divine feminine temples. And then at the same time, like there's kind of some, heavier energies and darker energies and repressed energies where um you know the temples aren't used in the same way as what they were. And um when we came out of our our hotel, there was this huge snake that was on this power line, this power box, and I mean huge snake, like, and it unfortunately had gotten like electrocuted. And um but it was kind of hanging there, and it really caught my attention. And the fact that it was on this power box, like this kundalini energy frequency that had gotten Yeah, that had gotten like oof, activated, right? But that was like the setting of this day. And so knew we were going to this waterfall temple into this like cave, not really knowing what else, except it was very, very ancient. Um, and it was kind of stirring up my fears. And my throat chakra has always been something that has felt repressed. It's always felt something that has even today, you can kind of even hear the restriction, right? So, it can feel tight, it can feel dimmed, it can feel restricted. And this throat chakra energy, um, there was there was a recognizing that this was what was coming to the surface this day. So we got into the vans. We knew we were going to this sacred temple. Um, when we got there, it was a little spooky. There was some, you know, animals aren't always treated, the best there, unfortunately. But there were some owls in the trees that were, I guess, watchers or protectors, but they did, their eyes were all like dark. It felt really like, what is this place? Where are we at? What is going on? Oh, and we could also hear some screams in the background. Didn't really know what was going on there either. But they dressed us um, in these covers, in these sarongs, and I believe they were like purples and reds, red, right? Kundalini and the crown, right? So we had a top and bottom um, crown energy chakras. And it just, in these temples, it was so beautiful, but there were also, I was having these memories and these insights of recognizing that, um, remembering people like walking around naked too, that people weren't dressed always in these temples, and it was just normal and natural and okay, where the goddess was just represented in that way and worshiped in that way. And it was just so beautiful. So it just felt even uncomfortable to even be in the sarongs and to honor the temple, honor the body. But of course, everything is kind of run by men. These temples are run in that way. And we went through, and there were certain deities and energies that we had incense and flowers and food that we gave blessings to, which was a really beautiful experience to go through. But there were several of those things before we walked our way down deep, deep, deep into this cave, and it was so sacred, and so ancient. Like, this was a very ancient part of Bali. And at the same time, there were a lot of fears coming up as well. I remember like thinking, oh my God, I'm walking through these waters, anything could bite me, anything, there could be snakes. Like, what did that snake mean this morning? Like, what is going to happen? Um, what is my initiation? What is going to happen? Because there's always some form of initiation. And so we got deep down, and then it started really opening up. And we had a beautiful shaman guide with us, and he started like toning. And the vibration off these rocks as we got to the base of this cave was just, it opened up something in me. And I'm not first person to like sing or to even like speak or to, go into a song. But as he was toning, my voice just opened up, and it's almost like there was this transmission that wanted to come through, this tone that wanted to come out, this part of me that wanted to lead. And it felt so normal and natural and sacred. And he was such a beautiful shaman that he kind of let me do it and let me take the lead. And so at every sacred spot, we stopped and we toned, and we did that as we gave honoring and blessing to each of these sacred deities. And um, sometimes it was like Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance, who I have worked with a lot and um, connect with. And there are all these different gods and goddesses, and so beautiful to connect into that frequency before we got to where the screaming was taking place. And when we got to where the screaming was, were these incredible, incredible waterfalls. And the instruction was to release and let go. Release it into the waterfall. And to do this 3 times, I believe was the instruction. And so I had this primordial experience of pulling up and pulling out these screams, these releases from my soul, from my body, from my ancestral lineage, from my soul stories. It just felt like it came from a collective place, a personal place, and an ancestral place is where I felt like I pulled them. And I believe Harrison actually asked me afterwards, like, where did that scream come from? And of course, I'm in the waterfall. I couldn't tell how loud my scream was, but I think it was pretty loud. Um, I feel there was so much that had bubbled up, so much that had come up. And even getting over and out into the waterfall, you had to kind of like step over these big rocks. And I remember even thinking like, oh my God, this is like kind of dangerous. Like, can I do this? And I saw these big, beautiful rainbows, like almost like protective barriers, like these big, beautiful rainbows shimmering off the rocks from where the water was hitting it. And I was just like, oh, yeah, of course I can. Like, this is so protected. This is so divine. This is so sacred. Like, this is leading me right where I need to be. So I went into the waterfall. I did my screams. It was such a huge release. And then I walked through, and it was just pouring down. And then I walked through to the other side of the waterfall, to the other one. And the intention was for that one to just let whatever wants to come out, come out. And I believe I laughed. I think it was like just joy and laughter and sigh and just elation. Like, it was just elation. And it just felt so good. And then there were these really big, beautiful butterflies that came out. And then just witnessing other people in the group doing this. And we walked back up and then recognizing the illusion, right? The screams were just an illusion. Like, this wasn't scary, bad things that were happening at this temple. It was really actually very sacred and very beautiful. This was a really incredibly beautiful experience. But what came up later that night was shame. I had this huge shame cycle that came up about being heard, about taking up space, about my voice when others were reflecting, like, especially when I was toning with the shaman and their reflection of me even kind of taking over, that I did something wrong. And then I actually lost my voice. I'd lost my voice for 3 days. And we had just started getting into like the vocal part of this retreat, and I couldn't participate with it. So I had no voice. So I really had to do some deep shadow work on this retreat, which is always what happens to me. It's never just a vacation. It is always an initiation. It's always shadow work, right? Because with any light work, there's always shadow work. With any reclaiming of archetypal work, which to me, this is the siren. All those sirens and dragons at the temples, right? It's a reclamation of voice. It's a reclamation of light code activation energy, of remembering and reclaiming who we truly are at our soul's blueprint, who we truly are here to become, to remember, to remind ourselves of who we are. And if you can see behind me, Kuan Yin, right? No matter where I go, she always shows up. No matter where I've traveled in the world, whether it is, Hawaii or Egypt or Bali or Costa Rica, like Kuan Yin always shows up. And she actually came from Bali. But she is the heart opener. She is the breaker of chains, the breaker of ancestral chains. So many of these things, these belief systems, these patterns, we carry from our ancestral line, and we are here to break the chains of. We are here to release those stories, those narratives, those beliefs, those patterns, so that we can walk and talk in an evolutionary way, so we can create a new way of being, of doing, of seeing, of knowing. And that is the work, right? That shutdown of voice, that dimming of voice, that it's not safe to speak or be heard, or doing something wrong by speaking. That was part of my trauma narrative. That was part of this lifetime, and probably part of my ancestral lifetime work that also came through, as well as soul's lifetime, persecution wounds, right? The siren wound, that was all coming up with that throat chakra energy that was ready to be healed, to step into that high priestess role of leadership. You have to have a voice, right, to be heard. But the priestess wounds are so much around persecution of truth, of speaking spiritual truth, of standing in truth, of soul expression, right? Of feeling safe, of feeling supported. Um, so, yeah, that siren energy, coming back to knowing your vibration, your frequency, your 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 gifts, right? As the siren of reclaiming the voice, reclaiming that throat chakra energy is embodied in your DNA. It's all over those ancient temples for a reason. To see those mermaids everywhere is an activation. To see those dragon codes everywhere as the dragon priestess, right? The Kundalini energy with the wings, the cosmic Christ consciousness wings, when those come together at the heart center, that is our dragon energy. That is our dragon heart energy. That is our dragon lineages. Priestesses in their highest form were called dragonesses. That is the dragon energies, right? When we are heaven on earth, cosmic and light, when we are a full embodiment of our divine self in our human form, that is our spiritual embodiment. And that is who we are remembering. We are who we have reclaimed, and who I am inviting you to connect back to, especially if you are one who struggles with your voice, your truth, speaking your truth, or your soul expression in any form, that I invite you to call that back now. Yes. So take a breath with me. I invite you here now, into this Bali series where we will be connecting into these energy centers, into these archetypes. And I am so fortunate to be able to have Harrison Meager as a co-facilitator with me on this Bali series, and he's going to be providing the guided meditation portion of this podcast. So please continue to stay connected for the meditation, and I invite you to just connect that deeply into your heart and into your throat chakra and into your siren energy. And until we connect next time, namaste.
Welcome, beautiful beings, powerful souls, back to another guided journey and meditation from my heart to yours. Today's intention is focused around your powerful throat chakra, a reactivating, a reawakening of a throat chakra that may have been silenced for periods of time, may have been shut down. Tuning into its power and any heaviness that has constricted it. So as you get comfortable and make space to receive today's journey, hold this on your heart as we go deeper. Today's meditation is a part of a series that I'll be creating and channeling alongside my soul sister, Molly Douglas. We had the pleasure of being on a very guided heart journey a couple of years ago together in Bali, where we both received a lot of divine and magical guidance for sensitive souls, much like ourselves, on this awakening path, helping us to really come home to a lot of deep teachings that are here to leave us in a more expanded state. So stay tuned for the rest of this series that I'll be collaborating with Molly on, and I would highly recommend tuning into her channel, her podcast, if you're listening to the podcast player of this episode. Spiritually Naked with the Soul is a heart-led and soul-led recording and channeled podcast session revealing the initiations, the activations, and the ancient feminine wisdom that guide our evolution. Highly recommend a tune in and tap in, but for now, sit and receive today's journey. Closing your eyes, getting comfortable, and taking one big, beautiful breath with me in through your nose and slowly out through your mouth. Going again, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Reminding you today that this space is for you, a reactivation of the value and the worth in your voice, to honor the cycles where it was quiet and to invite in a new cycle that is beginning so it can be heard. As you continue to breathe in and out, let your breath settle you into a natural rhythm. Feel your shoulders softening, your jaw unclenching, your tongue resting gently in your mouth. And maybe as you sit and or lay here in my energy, you feel a tingling sensation already around your throat chakra, your throat center. And know that all you need to do is be present with me with yourself, realizing that you've already done what is needed. And now we get to just allow and bring a witness, a loving witness, to what wishes to move. Breathing in. And breathing out. Let us specifically now tune our awareness into our throat center, our throat chakra, the space that has spoken truth, a space that has held back specific truth. Notice with me if there is a tightness here, any ancient constriction, subtle holdings. Perhaps there were times when speaking felt unsafe. Times when you were misunderstood, ignored, judged, silenced. You do not need to revisit these stories. All that is needed is an acknowledgement of their impact. And you can allow my words here to wash over your being, your vessel, your throat chakra. I honor your voice and the times it went quiet. I honor the protection that lived here in this space. I welcome for you a new cycle that is beginning. And together, let us breathe gently into this throat cycle, newness, breathing in. And breathing out. As we slowly and gently own the ending of this old cycle and the beginning of a new one, see if you can let go even more of any forcing, any need inside of you to rebel, to fight back, and rather offer a gentle, strong, compassionate closure. Seeing that this old cycle, like a season, has done its work. Seeing how it has kept you safe when you needed the safety. It protected your heart when the expression felt risky. And as you take a breath in and breathe out, imagine the cycle dissolving with ease. Imagine the cycle dissolving with ease. Not rejected, not resented, completed. And as we let go of the old, we open to the new. So as you breathe in now, feel expression that comes from stability. As you breathe in now, feel expression and speaking born from powerful, aligned choices. As you breathe in now, feel this new throat chakra cycle awakening. Let's do one breath cycle with me, breathing in. And breathing out, letting go. Feeling and remembering the conduit that your throat represents. Not only a place of expression, a channel where ancient, old fear, ancient, old shame can move through and be released. So as you continue to breathe at your own pace and bring awareness, as this throat chakra expands more and more, notice and imagine a gentle stream of light flowing through this space. And as it moves and activates even more this center of expression, see and observe any old fear that is stored here. Any old and inherited shame. Ancestral silence. And with your full permission, allow it to pass through this throat chakra channel. Like a beautiful alchemizing current moving through water. You do not need to name any of the shadow or the darkness. You do not need to understand. Just allow. Allow for your throat chakra to be the passage, the clearing, the bridge. Breathing in. And breathing out, transforming. Going again, breathing in. And breathing out, transforming. Letting any sound come if it wants, a sigh, a hum, an exhale, maybe tears that move from the release. And we're going to combine your throat center with some deep worthiness, connection. So I invite you, as you continue to expand this throat center, place your hand on your heart. And I want you to feel your heart beating. Feel the warmth in your chest. And I want you to connect deeply now with the intention of infusing this with your throat chakra expression. I want you to feel the worth that lives in your chest, the worthiness, the inner truth of your being, your innate worthiness. And with me, as we feel this worthy truth, repeat after me. My voice has value. My expression matters. It is safe to be heard and to speak. And it is safe to rest in silence when I choose. Feeling these words move through your throat chakra, now infused with your loving worthiness, your loving value, your loving presence. Notice how this expression feels. Notice how nothing is being forced and there is no perfect words needed. How your voice wants to naturally flow and be expressed. In this grounded state, sometimes your truth wants to be spoken. Sometimes your truth wants to be written. Sometimes your truth wants to stay inside of your heart. All is valid. And it's here in this moment together where you can feel that the throat is a doorway that opens when you are ready. Your throat chakra is a doorway that closes when you decide. So let this truth be present with all that you are. Come back and bring your awareness to your breath. Notice now how it feels a little bit different, moving through your throat center. Notice the quiet sense of spaciousness that has been created, the openness, the possibility. And I close this throat chakra reawakening, reactivation, re-remembering today with one more invitation for you, beautiful heart, as you step into this new cycle around your throat center and your throat chakra. I invite you to sit with an intention of how your expression, your voice, your words, how it looks like uniquely for you. How it looks like uniquely in your life, your unique relationships, your unique journey currently. Is there a necessity to share more of it? Is there a necessity to retract some of your words, some of your voice. Whatever it is here in this moment, I want you to see it. I want you to feel it. And when you have a clear sense of what this is for you, place it in your heart, knowing it will be done. Breathing in. And breathing out. One more time, letting go. Taking one final moment here to tune into your throat center, tune into your breath, dropping back into the foundation of the bed or the chair, the ground that is holding you. And when you're ready, with ease and grace, you can open your eyes, come back to this waking reality and this new throat chakra cycle.